Well, hello, everybody. I'm United States Senator Tom Carper. I want to thank you for tuning in to the 21st Annual Service Academy Information Night. For some of you, this will be the first step to a career in the military. As a 23-year veteran of the United States Navy, last Vietnam veteran serving in the U.S. Senate today, my military service gave me so much, providing me with a chance to go to college, get an education, a chance to gain great, badly needed leadership skills as a young man, and things that I've carried with me throughout my life. My time with the Navy also provided me with a chance to get an education, undergraduate, Ohio State, graduate school, University of Delaware, and allowed me to see the world, all over the world, from Southeast Asia to the Mediterranean, back and forth again. Perhaps most importantly, my service gave me the opportunity to serve our country. I think of myself as a servant. My job is to serve, not to be served. And I still serve today, and I'm privileged to serve in a different role, as I said, as one of your two United States senators. One of my responsibilities in that role, along with Senator Chris Coons and Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester from Delaware, is to nominate some of Delaware's best and brightest students to attend our nation's service academies. And soon you're going to hear from presenters from those academies, and at the end you're going to have a chance to submit any questions you may have, and the representatives from our congressional office will get back to you promptly. Now, I want to introduce to you, if I could, a fantastic young man who last year was in your shoes. His name is Rocco Alessandro, and he's currently a senior at Cesar Rodney High School in Kent County. He received nominations to go to not just the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, not just the U.S. Military Academy West Point, but also to the U.S. Naval Academy. That's a hat trick where I come from. You're going to hear from him next on his experience in applying for not one, not two, but 3 nominations. I want to wish you all the best on your applications. And let me just say this, my 10 words of advice, if I ever gave you a commencement address, this would be my 10 words of advice. I'll give them to you right here. Aim high. Next 2 words, work hard. Next 4 words, embrace the golden rule. The last 2 words, don't quit. Aim high, work hard, embrace the golden rule, don't quit. Do those things. Whether you make the cut at one of our military academies or ROTCs, you will be ready for life. Take care. Good luck. God bless.
Hello, everyone. I am Rocco Alessandro, and I'm honored to be speaking tonight. I'm sorry that Academy Night this year is once again virtual, for I would much rather speak before you in person. Tonight, I would just like to share some things I have learned that could be beneficial to you. If you have started your Academy applications, then you are aware of how time-consuming and confusing they can be. And if you have not started them by chance, you will soon come to understand the lengthy process, which is why it is crucial that you start taking initiative as soon as possible. This means creating relationships with peers and teachers alike. These relationships must be genuine and thoughtful, because later these people will have your back whether you attend an academy or not. Remember, life is about the relationships you create. Burning bridges will not benefit you in any way. Taking initiative also means involving yourself in leadership activities and studies. True leaders are confident but humble, decisive but integral, calm but responsible, and physically sound but lifelong learners. Read up on leadership strategies and tactics. Some books I have found helpful are Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko Willink, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and About Face by David Hackworth. While these books do provide invaluable knowledge, the only way you will truly understand and benefit from the lessons in these books is through applying them in real time. Leading others is hard, so you must practice. Taking initiative is done through pushing yourself. Confidence is key. When you go for your nomination board interviews, project confidence. Look everyone in their eyes, say your name, and shake their hands with a firm handshake. Answer questions in a clear and concise manner. If you are asked a question that you do not immediately know the answer to, ask for a moment to think. Bring in a notepad and take notes while board members talk to you, and don't be afraid to ask them questions. For one, it will blow their minds, because rarely do people ask them questions in an interview. And also, the obvious has to be stated. They have more experience than you. Remember, good leaders never stop learning, so take every opportunity to learn from others. If you're not comfortable with public speaking or stepping up and leading your peers, do it anyway. A life lived in the comfort zone will not lead to self-betterment. Don't cave to the fear of failure, because simply put, failure leads to success. And if you are afraid to fail, you will only achieve mediocrity. If by chance you do fail, and you will at one point or another, don't lie to yourself or blame others. Take ownership for your mistakes and own the solutions to your problems. The last point I have to make is one dealing with staying organized. Applications for the academies, like I have said before, take a long time and can be confusing. Get into the habit of writing important information down and check it every day. Do not procrastinate. Good leaders prioritize and execute. Don't fall behind mentally, physically, or spiritually. You must perform as a well-cogged machine. With organization comes delegation. Humility is key. Don't be afraid to solicit help from family members. I'm eternally grateful to my parents for their support and guidance throughout this whole process. I love you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for all the love and support. In order to achieve your goals, you must take initiative, create relationships, project confidence, practice humility, make good decisions, exude integrity, stay calm, take ownership, prioritize and execute, destroy mediocrity, and never stop learning. Good luck, everyone. Stay on the path to success, and don't forget to get after it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Tony Reichert, and I'm currently an assistant professor of military science at Temple University's Army ROTC program. I've sat on Senator Carper's Service Academy Selection Board for the past 3 years. And what I'd like to do is provide you all some recommendations and some things that can set you up for success. Kind of give you some insight into what we are looking for in potential candidates. So rightfully so, I have to say that I'm always super impressed with the candidates and how they prepare for the board. They're always very impressive. So there are some things that I'd like to share with you that'll help you get ready and prepare for this process and let you know kind of what we're looking for. The first thing I would say is know what your why is. What do I mean by that? Be able to speak to why you want to apply for a Service Academy nomination. What's your why behind it? It could be you have family members who have served, parents, uncles, grandparents. It could be that you're looking for a challenge. It also could be, hey, maybe you're looking for financial stability in your future. Whatever your why is, know what that is and be able to explain that to us and be confident in it, whatever that why might be for you. The next thing I would say that we look for in our candidates is be able to explain to us how you have prepared for this journey, both physically and mentally. Being a commissioned officer myself, I will tell you that a big part of being an officer is being physically prepared. Have you played any sports? Do you have a solid workout regimen? Are you a member of a gym? Be able to explain to us what you have done to prepare for this journey physically. The other side of that coin is, be able to explain to us what you have done to prepare for this journey mentally. How are your grades? What's your GPA? Have you partaken in any AP courses? Have you done additional studies? So just be able to articulate those things and let us know and be able to speak to how you have prepared for this journey, both physically and mentally. The next thing, and I'd say one of the more important things is, are you willing to learn? Now, make no mistake, we are not looking for perfect candidates. And by that, I mean, we're looking for individuals who are passionate about being developed, because that's what a Service Academy nomination is all about. We don't expect you to show up and be the perfect candidate. We expect you to have an understanding of what your strengths are, but even more important than what your strengths are, we expect you to have an idea of what your developmental needs are and what you have done and plan to do in the future to address those developmental needs. So that's very important. Be able to demonstrate a level of introspection And I think that'll certainly serve you well. One of the other more important things we are looking for in our candidates are those that have high moral integrity. So the definition of integrity is being able to do the right thing, even when nobody's watching you. And sometimes that can be difficult. Sometimes it can be difficult to make those unpopular decisions. So be willing to and be able to share with us sometimes in the past where you've demonstrated that you have high moral integrity. Because that's really important as a commissioned officer. And it's very important in what we look for in terms of our nominees. Next, I would say we are looking for candidates who have demonstrated the ability to serve their communities. What do I mean by that? Being an officer is all about service. And your service starts right now in the communities that you're in. So be able to talk to us a little bit about how you served your community, how you've served businesses in your community, places of worship. How have you taken advantage of volunteer opportunities? Being a commissioned officer and being enrolled in a service academy is about service, right? That's why it's called a service academy. So be able to speak to how you served your community. I would say one of the final things I would leave you with is we look for candidates who understand the importance of being a good teammate. Being a commissioned officer is about putting the welfare of others before yourself. So be able to speak to how you've demonstrated your ability to be a good teammate in the past. And I really feel like that'll serve you well. All things considered, all of these things should help adequately prepare you for this journey. I wish you all the best of luck, and I'm sure I'll see you in the future.
My name is Gail Mader, and I am an admissions liaison officer for the United States Air Force Academy. I graduated from the Air Force Academy in 1996, and I would like to share with you the opportunities of those that wish to continue their education beyond high school at the Academy. There are two main things that you must understand. First, it's an appointment, and therefore you need to, one, apply to the Academy itself, and secondly, you need to receive a nomination. These nominations come from congressional sources, as well as a few other sources. Primarily, you apply to each senator of your state and the congressional representative for your district, which of course for Delaware, we have one. Everyone should also apply for a vice presidential nomination. Even though these are very limited in number, it is best to do that to have as many avenues of opportunity as possible. The other is which these are very rare cases, Medal of Honor recipients, their children can receive a nomination. And also there are presidential nominations. So if you have a parent that served 8 years of active duty or an equivalent amount of point system within the reserves, you can also apply for a presidential nomination as well. Another one actually that we need to mention is that if your high school JROTC is an honorary JROTC, they also can offer nominations. So when you're looking at applying to an academy, it's different than most colleges, not better, not worse, just simply different. The academies are looking for a whole person concept. The reason being, not only will once you graduate, you'll have a commission in the United States Air Force, or now even the United States Space Force. It's also to prepare you because not everyone is going to serve 20 years, but you will, if you choose, be a leader in whatever industry or life path you take. So there are a couple of things to consider. There's 4 main pillars. There's academics, athletics, leadership, and this one's always a little bit hard for me to find just the right word for. I would say moral, but it's with the understanding that the academies have an honor code, and therefore they are seeking people of integrity. The Air Force core values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And therefore, when seeking candidates, to become the future leaders of the Air Force and our nation. That's one aspect that we're looking for. So leadership, what does that look like? Really, quite honestly, it looks like you doing the best that you can do and what you're passionate about. If you're in JROTC, hopefully you have some leadership positions. If you're on an athletic team, hopefully you're pursuing captain's slots. I myself was a band member, so I was a section leader. Maybe your journey isn't right in high school, or you have some unique life challenges or presentations that you need to work with. So maybe you're working a lot of hours to help support your family. So if you're working a job to help support the family or yourself, that you're doing the best you can at that. So I always encourage candidates, there is no right or wrong here, okay? Because it's about you being the best version of you. Find something you love and be the best you can be at it and help others along the way. Academically, quite frankly, the academies are challenging. So you need to be as prepared as possible. That means taking those college prep and those AP classes. That being said, you don't want a solid C in all of them to drop your GPA. So be mindful, challenge yourself, but at the same time, do your best. Of course, part of academics, but yet seen separately, is the SAT and ACT. The best advice that has been around the block for decades for the academies is test early and often. We recommend you take both SAT and ACT and take them frequently, because thankfully the academy super scores. What that means is if you go, let's say you take 2 tests, and on the second test you go up in one area and down in the other one in comparison to your first one, the academies are going to take the best from each. So you can't go wrong. I myself took the ACT 5 times. I've worked with people that took it 6 times. Do your best, right? It all goes back to that. Another aspect, of course, is physical fitness. So the academies have a candidate fitness assessment, and it is designed to exhaust you. You start with a basketball throw, you have pull-ups or a flexed arm hang, you continue with push-ups, sit-ups, and a shuttle run. And then lastly, after all that, you run a mile. So it's a test of endurance and fortitude and overall physical fitness. But yet again, it's simply a piece of the pie. If you max it, that's wonderful, but that's not a whole person concept, right? So we're looking at being the best in everything we can, with understanding and accepting where we are. And of course, there is the Department of Defense medical examination. That being said, there are basically simple, no, that's not worded properly. There are simply basic qualifications that are needed to be in the service. And that's outside the purview of an admissions liaison officer such as myself. We don't handle that, but you do have to go through that process as well, just like you would if you were to enlist or go through another commissioning source. I'm trying to think here. Let's see. I've covered, high school curriculum. Let's talk about that. So you want to be looking at 4 years of math, 4 years of science with a lab, 4 years of English, 3 years of history or social studies, and at least 2 years of a modern foreign language. Remember that approximately 30% of every class, it's not their first application. So what does that mean? That means if you don't get in the first time, if you really want it, try again. Generally, you look to start your application July 1st. It is a rolling deadline. So you have 4 months from the time you start to the time you finish. So when you go online to academyadmissions.com and you fill out that pre-candidate questionnaire, I recommend you start getting the ball rolling. As all my friends that are in scouting say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you look at that big picture and you plan ahead and you do your best. You enjoy the journey and know that no matter what, whether you get into the academy or not, the intention is to be the best version of yourself. And no matter what life throws at you, If you're open to it, you will grow. Thank you so much for your time.
Good evening and welcome to Academy Night on behalf of the Naval Academy. My name is Major Brad Boyd. I am the Delaware Area Coordinator for the Naval Academy Information Program, also known as the Blue and Gold Program. And I'd like to briefly familiarize you with the Naval Academy in the time that I have. So without further ado, here's my contact information. I know the administrators will provide this at the end of all the presentations, but feel free to copy this down if you have an opportunity now. So the Naval Academy, we affectionately refer to as the Yard. It's a great combination of a military base and a college campus. They have all the amenities and services that you would expect, probably a little more than that. It's located in Annapolis, Maryland, about halfway between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. We have world-class facilities, not only for our Division I athletes, but for club sports and intramural sports as well. The Brigade of Midshipmen is what we refer to as the student body, if you will. A midshipman is a student at the Naval Academy. Roughly about 4,500 students there, and you see the breakdown of male and female midshipmen. All the midshipmen are represented in all 50 states, our territories and foreign countries. We have many diverse and cultural backgrounds, and even sailors and Marines come from the fleet to attend the Naval Academy. And amongst them are many leaders, scholars, and varsity athletes. So the Naval Academy is a STEM school. We're heavy on engineering, math, and science. We only have 25 majors to offer. We also address humanities and social sciences and available minors. But as you can see in the left column and center column, pretty heavy on the science thing. And that's the onus that you come with strengths in those, particularly when you demonstrate that in your transcripts, your high school transcripts. So we have small class sizes in the classrooms. We think that's better for learning. Student to faculty ratio is 8:1. And in addition, we have a 1:1 civil to military faculty ratio. So we have fleet Marine officers and Navy officers that are also instructing in or on campus. So we have varsity sports, we have club sports, and we have intramural sports. There is a requirement for each midshipman to engage in one of those. And you can see the list of the typical sports, men and women's sports, and then co-ed sports that we offer. And believe it or not, you get pay and benefits while you attend the Naval Academy because you're essentially almost on active duty. They receive a full scholarship if you earn an appointment to attend the Naval Academy, which includes tuition, your room and board, and medical and dental coverage. Each midshipman receives a stipend or a pay each month. However, as a plebe or a freshman, you have a lot of things to pay for. You get your whole allotment of uniforms in the first couple of weeks. You buy a computer with that money. And so you only may see as a freshman, a plebe, about $100 or so every month. And as you get more senior, a first-classman or a firstie may see about $600 a month in a pay stipend. So the goal at the Naval Academy obviously is to graduate. There is a service obligation at the end, and everyone graduates with at least a Bachelor of Science degree. You earn a commission as an officer in the Navy, an ensign, or a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. You have a minimum 5-year service commitment. And some of the opportunities, I mean, there are many, but as depicted on the slide here, you can see at the lower right part of the slide, you see the submarine service. And then above that is naval aviation. And in the center of the screen is Marine Corps aviation. And then the backbone of the Navy is the surface warfare officer pipeline. And that's depicted with the destroyer there. What's not listed here is Marine Corps ground, and that is the backbone of the Marine Corps. So here are the service assignments for last May. We graduated almost 1,025 second lieutenants and ensigns. And you can see surface warfare took up almost a quarter of the class, both conventional and nuclear. And I say surface warfare, a surface warfare officer is a SWO or SWO. The submarine service also took a fair amount of the graduating class. We graduate 30 SEALs, 25 to 35 Navy SEALs every year, and explosive ordnance disposal is listed. And you'll see also Naval Aviation, Marine Corps Aviation, and Marine Corps Ground at the bottom. And then the restricted line is predominantly Navy side of specialties in crypto, intelligence, oceanography, and the like. At the bottom, you see Marine Corps Cyber Intelligence is also a supported field. So you have to have a basic, there is a basic eligibility to attend the Naval Academy. Somewhere between ages 17 and 23, you must not have passed your 23rd birthday by the time you get to plebe summer. You must be a citizen. You must have no obligations outside of yourself, and you must be of good moral character, which means you can't have a police record, essentially. So the Naval Academy website is where I go to find all the information I need. It's updated frequently, and it's I think it's an exceptional resource for those thinking of applying and those in the application process. It's at usna.edu/admissions. There are other sources also on social media, which I'll touch upon in a bit. But basically, let's talk about the information required in the application. You will be expected to provide a personal statement, usually in the form of answering 2 questions and 2 essays. You have to do a fitness assessment, which I'll touch upon shortly. And then you have to go to your guidance office and seek out an activities record and your academic information, your transcripts. And then you would go to your favorite math and English teacher for a recommendation on your performance in a class that they had you for. And then, of course, hopefully in your junior year, you're entertaining SAT and ACT prep courses and actually full-on ACT and SAT class tests. So I mentioned the physical qualification required. It's called the Candidate Fitness Assessment. All the service academies have it. I think there's some variances, as I understand, but it's 6 events in roughly an hour, ending with a 1-mile run. And that is administered by either a blue and gold officer, a commissioned officer from one of your, or a junior ROTC unit, a coach or a physical ed teacher from the state of Delaware. And then there's a medical qualification. That's, we call it DOD-MERB, but it's an organization within the military that evaluates candidates for service academies and ROTC programs. Usually you're notified about 50% into your application so that we know you're serious. And then you would start filling out your health history, and you just have to meet requirements. And there are actually some things that would make you not eligible to attend the academies or ROTC. And that's what this is for, obviously. So nominations are a separate pipeline from the application. While you're applying to the academies, you actually have to seek out a nomination from one of your 2 state senators in the state of Delaware or our Congresswoman, Lisa Blunt Rochester. There are other nomination sources like the vice president. You can also apply to her for 5 spots. She has 5 spots per year. And you have to adhere to a domicile requirement. If you go to school in the state of Delaware but don't live there, then you would have to apply to either Maryland or New Jersey or Pennsylvania. But if you live in the state of Delaware, then you're good with my team of blue and gold officers to oversee you. So here's a little bit of a busy slide. It's a candidate cycle, and it starts with the January of your junior year. So second semester of your junior year. And hopefully you've already started working left to right. You've already taken your ACT and SAT scores or tests, but hopefully working on them and fully engaged in them. Also in January, the summer seminar application opens for rising seniors. The preliminary application opens about the 1st of May at the Naval Academy, and then you'd be notified by the Naval Academy if you were an official candidate, and you can start working on it. We recommend to all candidates that they do their best to complete as much of the application before the end of the summer. Maybe as you're starting, you can tie up loose ends as you're starting your senior year. But it really is in your best interest. As you see where September is marked, the admission board meets every Thursday and reviews all the completed applications at that time. So it's in your best interest to complete the application briskly and quickly and move on from there. So the deadline for the application for next year for the class of 2026 is December 31st, or excuse me, January 31st, as far as we know. The deadline to open a new application is December 31st, but really it's a moot point. If you get the application open in May, really it's in your best interest to complete it quickly. And then the admissions places a sort of a restriction on themselves to try to notify all candidates by April 15th of the following year, or this candidate cycle, to let everybody know who's appointed, who isn't. You can go on with your plan B. If you're so interested, maybe you go to college for a year, reapply. The sky's the limit. And then if you are appointed, plebe summer would begin at the end of your junior end of June, after you've graduated in maybe early June or late May. So the admissions process, as I described, you fill out a preliminary application. The Naval Academy uses the basic information that you provide to assess your competitiveness as a candidate. Then you become an official candidate, hopefully. Not everybody does. Then the admissions board will review your completed application. You'll complete your candidate fitness assessment, and you'll go do the DOD-MERB exam. If there's any questions about any medical things, the medical office at the Naval Academy engages you and hopes to complete that application without any problems. Then you obtain a nomination separately. That usually happens late December, maybe the first week in January. You learn that you've earned a nomination, and that means now you're eligible to compete for an appointment to the Naval Academy in the state of Delaware, and you're competing against other students. And then if you're tremendously fortunate, an offer of appointment is provided. So here's some advice for admissions. You need to be strong in math and science. Like I said, it's a STEM school. Chemistry and physics with a lab, and background in algebra, trig, geometry, pre-calc, and calc. AP and honors and IB courses are highly encouraged. That's just what is competitive. And there's no minimum GPA requirement, but you strive to be in the top 20% of your class. And then at the bottom there, we'd like to see demonstrated leadership potential. And I'd like to see that you're active in athletics and non-athletic activities. And that includes community service and volunteer work. So the top 5 reasons to attend the Naval Academy: it's a full ride. You have guaranteed employment upon graduation. It's in a really great location, and it's not far from Delaware, mind you. It's about an hour and 45 minutes away. Excellent leadership and character development, and an 89% graduation rate. Here are some social media links on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our website, usna.edu/admissions, is up there, as I mentioned before, and there's additional information for athletes at navysports.com. That is all I have. I appreciate your time tonight, and thank you for coming. And also thank you for the Senator and your staff for putting this together. By far, it's one of our most popular events, and look forward to speaking with all you candidates in the near future. Have a good night.
Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Richard Simpson from West Point Admissions. I'm the Northeast Regional Commander, which includes Delaware and Pennsylvania all the way up to Maine. And I'm excited to be joining you virtually for this event today. I want to say thank you to Senator Carper and Lauren Gutierrez for inviting me to record this video to share about the awesome opportunities at West Point with you. I also want to mention Steve Murphy. He's our Field Force State Coordinator for Delaware. He's been doing it for 15 years. And he's a great resource, and you can find his information when you have an open application. Go into your candidate portal and look up Field Force, and you can see Stephen Murphy's information there. Great resource to direct any Delaware specific questions about West Point. So let's get started. So here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the West Point experience, what West Point offers, what differentiates West Point from the other academies that you may have heard about, such as Navy or Air Force, Coast Guard, Merchant Marine, and some application highlights for the application process. So West Point, it's a leadership development institution, and our mission is to produce leaders of character who are going to serve in the U.S. Army for 5 years. They get the privilege of serving and leading soldiers for 5 years on active duty following graduation. And it's challenging, right? West Point, it's not an easy experience. It's going to push you academically, physically through all our DPE courses and athletics, and through our military training. but it's worth it because it's gonna grow you and prepare you so that you're ready to step in front of soldiers after graduation and lead them, supporting and defending the Constitution, doing various missions throughout the world. 100% of our graduates are placed in the U.S. Army in 18 different branches, which I'll discuss a little more on the next slide. Very competitive starting salary. And I remember my commissioning day, like this young lady here in the photo, and my mom and my wife, she's my girlfriend at the time, or fiance, excuse me, got to pin my shoulder boards just like that. And it's a really cool day because you get to graduate and throw your hat in the air. And then right after that, you go down and you get to commission with your family and friends. So it's a huge privilege and a huge honor. And here's our 18 branches that I mentioned previously that you can get in, commission into. Now, you don't have to stay with these branches, but this is, if you pick these branches and you're selected into them, this is where you will serve your first 5 years. And we have everything that you can think of as being Army, such as infantry, armor, field artillery, but we also have a lot of things that people don't think of. We have a pretty significant aviation branch. Right after the Air Force, we have the second most aircraft. Of course, they're all helicopters. So Apaches, Chinooks, Black Hawk helicopters. And our aviation branch is a little different, right? Most of our pilots are warrant officers. So unlike the Navy or the Air Force, if you commission into aviation, you'll be a pilot and you'll clearly be in charge of your aviation unit. You'll be a platoon leader, company commander with UCMJ authority over your warrant officers when you're working with them. We have cyber, and we're building a new cyber engineering academic center right next door to where I am right now in the admissions building. We have finance, medical service corps. Every year we send 20 officers into the medical corps to go to med school after graduation. We have military intelligence, military police, logistics, like what I am. This is a quartermaster branch. So we have ordnance to include explosive ordnance disposal, quartermaster transportation, signal corps, which would be like our IT support, lots of different things. There's lots of opportunities. Now, later on in your career, you can assess if you're selected into special forces, psychological operations, civil affairs, and we have so many jobs. We have marketing, data analytics, acquisitions, professors at West Point, you name it. So there's lots of different ways to serve. So West Point was established in 1802. It's America's first military academy. So we need to point that out because Navy and Air Force, they built their schools after our model. And it's America's first school of engineering, which we're very proud about because we're currently ranked number 3 for civil engineering programs in the nation. In 1817, we used what we call the Thayer method, and the Thayer method is pretty important. So it's where you study the material ahead of time, and then when you show up to class, you're already at a higher level of learning, and you're just working out where you don't understand the material with the professor and with your classmates. West Point's very distinguished. We have many notable alumni to include 2 U.S. presidents, to include President Eisenhower, 20 astronauts, to include Buzz Aldrin, the second person on the moon, General Benjamin O. Davis, who the new Davis Barracks is named after. He was leader of the Tuskegee Airmen and had a very notable career, broke a lot of glass ceilings for African Americans. Lieutenant General Nigel West, she was the first female African-American Surgeon General in the United States Army, also broke a lot of glass ceilings. Lots of people think of Duke when they think of Coach K, but Coach K is a West Point grad. And so I was actually here when he got to come here and go up into our mess hall and give an announcement to all the cadets. That's pretty cool. And Alexander Villanueva, he was with the Steelers, but now he's even close to Delaware. He's over with the Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to talk about cadet life. So our classes are small. We have a 7-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And we're actually ranked number 1 by, I believe, US News. It might be Princeton for the best classroom experience, or second best classroom experience, number 1 most accessible professors. So classes are pretty small. It's not like a normal college. You get to know your professor. They work with you. They know if you know the material or not. So there's not a lot of hiding if you're not prepared. But it's good because if you're ready to learn, you're going to understand the material. Half of our faculty are permanently assigned, either military or civilian. A lot of them, almost all of them have PhDs, academic professionals and experts in their area. The other half are like me, where we have graduate's degrees and we rotate through and then go back to the Army. And we're a great resource to talk about those 18 branches. So if you want to learn about quartermaster, you can come and ask me a question about it, because that's what I do. And that's what I'm going to go back to the Army and do again. Lots of different scholarships. So we have a West Point scholarship program, and we have an Excel program for our African-American and Latinx cadets. And these programs groom and prepare our cadets to compete and win these scholarships. So this last year we had 4 females, which is really cool. It's cool that we had 4 and that they were all female, win Rhodes Scholarships. So we now have 100 Rhodes Scholars from West Point, but we win many of these scholarships every year. We have 36 academic majors, which is more than any of the other academies. And it's not just STEM. So even though we were founded as an engineering school and we have lots of engineering, we have things like cyber science, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, mathematics. We also have a lot of non-engineering stuff too, like history, philosophy. Department of Foreign Languages is pretty popular. You can major in French, Chinese, Russian, and a lot of times get to go on internships around the world to do an immersion in that language. So we have everything you can want, plus 15 minors, and everyone graduates with a bachelor's in science. So it's going to give you a good foundation to pursue something later like an MBA. Here's our military training. So you can't do 3 years, you can't do 5 years at West Point, with a few exceptions like people that get hurt or something like that. Because you're going through this military development training, right? You start off with Beast Barracks, then you do Buckner, and then later on you do these other trainings like CLDT, which is like almost like a mini Ranger school, CTLT, where you get to go out to the Army and be a platoon leader for a few weeks. You get to be part of the training details for Buckner, which is the second one, the CFT or Beast. And you get to lead cadets because West Point can run itself. We're grooming you and preparing you to be a leader of character so that when you stand in front of soldiers as a second lieutenant, you're ready. We have hundreds of advanced individual development opportunities. So when I was at West Point, I got to go to Gabon, Africa, and cross the equator 7 times and do training with the French Foreign Legion, ride in a French Puma helicopter, shoot a French FAMAS rifle. So it was really cool, really great opportunity. And military qualification schools, which I'll talk a little more on this slide. Lots of opportunities to do semesters abroad. So one of my classmates got to go to France and was at a French civilian school in Paris for 6 months. You can go to other service academies, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and many other military academies around the world. And that's all going to be in your junior year. We don't do that the first 2 years of the last year, just in your junior year. Lots of different individual advanced development opportunities, IEDs. So I talked about, I got to go to Gabon. You can go to the White House, you can go to congressional offices, FBI, NASA, training with industry, and military qualification schools. So airborne, get to jump out of perfectly good airplanes with a parachute. Air assault, get to rappel out of helicopters. And we actually do that here at West Point. So this last summer, you can see the helicopters landing and the cadets training with their cadre to connect sling loads to the helicopters or rappel out of them. So what it takes, we're looking for excellent academic ability, leadership potential, and your overall fitness. And this is how we evaluate you. So I'm going to talk about the qualitative components first. So you have your interview with a field force member or an admissions officer. You have your candidate statements, and you have your school official evaluations, which are going to be the mandatory components of your application. And that gives us a pretty good triangulation of who you are as a leader of character. And we also have optional, you can submit an employer evaluation, or you can submit letters of recommendation as well. And you have a lot of different folks, plus what you're saying about yourself, that tell us why you want to go to West Point, why you want to serve in the U.S. Army. And then quantitatively, we use this pie chart. So 60% academics, 30% based on your leadership potential, and 10% based on your candidate fitness assessment. So the deadline for this, for the class of 2027, is going to be January 31st of 2023. Okay, but the sooner you turn this in, the better, right? Because we're going to release the second step kit in the summer, and we do rolling admission. So when your file is complete and you have these other 2 components, the medical qualification and a nomination, which is why many of you are here today, then your file can be considered by the admissions committee for appointment. But without one of those things, you need to have all of them. You're going to be waiting until you receive those or your file is complete. So nominations, every cadet candidate is eligible for 4 nominations, and we encourage you to apply for all of them. So 1 from your representative, 1 from each U.S. senator from your state, and 1 from the vice president of the United States. So make sure you go on their websites, understand their nomination application requirements, and you understand the timeline for that. Because a lot of times, sometimes people don't pay attention to that and they'll miss the deadlines and they can't receive a nomination from that source. And there's also service-connected nominations. So these are extra nominations that children of career military, children of veterans who are 100% disabled or deceased, or members of the U.S. Army or Armed Forces, ROTC or junior ROTC, they can apply for these. And I encourage you to do that as well. So if you are eligible for a service-connected nomination, apply for all 4 of your congressional nominations and also apply for your service-connected nominations. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for people that want to serve in the U.S. Army and are mentally tough. So Angela Duckworth, she wrote a book called Grit, and she does a leadership or a grit survey of a lot of West Point grads. And she mentions that grads that do well are the ones that are mentally and mentally tough and they have grit. So SLE, the application is open right now. So if you apply to West Point between 1 February and 15 March, and you're a rising senior this summer, so this summer you're going to be a senior between your junior and senior year, you're eligible to attend this program. So if you apply to West Point right now, you're automatically considered for this if you'd like to go. And you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website is a great source of information. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is richard.simpson@westpoint.edu. So that's richard.simpson, like the cartoon, @westpoint.edu. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Commander Joe Becker. I'm the Northeast Region's Admissions Officer of the United States Merchant Marine Academy. I'm here today to talk to you about our academy, who we are, what we do, and our requirements for admission. Pictured here is our academy. This is taken on a beautiful spring day. You notice our academy is relatively small. We're the smallest of all the service academies. What does this mean for you as an applicant? It means you have small class sizes. Our average class size is 13 students to every one professor, with easy access to facilities and accommodations. Parents, what does this mean for you? We know where your son and daughter is at all times. If you ever need to get hold of them, we know exactly where they are during the day. What do merchant mariners do? I receive this question all the time, and the best way to describe the merchant marine is don't think of it so much as a career, don't think of it so much as a branch of the military, but think of it more as a career field. So there's so many great career fields students can go into these days. Law enforcement, food service, entertainment. There's so many great ones out there. The merchant marine, the maritime industry is one of those great career fields. The merchant marine consists of both privately owned and government-owned U.S. flag vessels. We provide waterborne transportation for cargoes and persons moving both domestically and internationally. And in times of war or national emergency, the merchant marine serves as the fourth arm of defense. Case in point with the recent COVID pandemic that has affected us all, the hospital ships that were sent to New York City and to California were crewed by merchant mariners. While the vessels were owned by the United States Navy, they were crewed by civilian merchant mariners. So that's just an example of some of the great services that we provide. What do graduates earn? The U.S. Merchant Marine Academy is very unique in the sense that our graduates graduate with what we call the Triple Crown. The Triple Crown consists of the Bachelor of Science degree, a commission as an officer in the Navy Reserve, and I'll put an asterisk next to that, and I'll tell you why in a second, as well as a Coast Guard license as a Merchant Marine officer as either a third mate or third assistant engineer. Again, the Triple Crown. We're the only academy that offers you this option. As detailed, I explained that all of our graduates commission as ensigns in the Navy Reserve. At minimum, everyone does have a service obligation. Many of our graduates will go into the Navy Reserve. However, graduates have the option to join any branch of the military they so choose, whether it be on active duty or reserve. And I'll go into further detail in the next slide. As detailed, all of our graduates incur a service obligation in following graduation. What's unique about our academy is the options you have for satisfying this obligation. The majority of our graduates will take the first option here. They will work in the maritime industry for 5 years. They will maintain their Coast Guard license for 6 years, and they will serve in the Navy Reserve for 8 years. This time is all served concurrently. So within 8 years of graduation, the student would have satisfied their service obligation. Roughly 70% of our graduates will take this option. They will serve in the maritime industry for 5 years, again, maintain their license for 6 years, serving in the Navy Reserve for 8 years. 30% of our graduates will go on to serve active duty military, 5 years service period. They can go into any branch of the military they so choose. The below chart details the various services as well as the number of graduates that went into that respective service dating back to the class 2016. As you can tell, roughly 30% of our graduates will go active duty. The remaining 70% will go Navy Reserve with the option of pursuing their deck or engine license. Academic majors. Our academy offers 5 academic majors in total. We offer 2 within the Department of Marine Transportation and 3 within the Department of Marine Engineering. Understand that we are a very STEM-focused school. We do not offer programs in liberal arts or sciences, in psychology, in any of the medical fields. So if you're looking to be a dentist, a sports psychologist, or going into business other than the merchant marine or maritime shipping, this may not be a great fit for you. Again, we're very STEM focused, and this is reflected in our admissions criteria, which I will touch on in the next few slides. Our academy offers a very unique program called C-Year. C-Year is by far the greatest paid internship and study abroad program there is. All of our students will go out to sea between their sophomore and junior years, typically in a 4-month sailing and then an eight-month sailing in their junior year. Students will, on average, visit between 15 and 20 countries. They'll be paid about $1,000 a month while they're at sea by their respective ship's employer. The pictures you see here, these are not actors. These are not stock photos. These were photos that were submitted by our graduates following their respective C years. So just you take a moment, just look at these photos. Again, this is the greatest paid internship and study abroad program there is. If you can find one better, please let me know. Right here, this is a typical day at the academy. If you like structure, if you like routine, this is going to be a great fit for you. All of our students wake up in the morning, typically between 05 and 0600. They'll go through the day's activities, culminating at 2200, 10 o'clock at night when they go to sleep. They'll wake up the next day and do it all again. So again, if you like structure, if you like routine, this would be a great fit for you. Our athletics program is pretty robust. We are a Division III athletics program. So if you have any interest whatsoever in playing sports in the collegiate level, I encourage you to check us out. Because we are Division III, our coaches tend not to make cuts. As long as you're willing to participate, you put the time in and put a good effort forward, they'll find a place for you on the team. The teams listed here are Division III programs. Again, we're very robust programs. We're very competitive. I encourage you to check out our website, check out our teams, as this is something we do consider for admissions purposes. We also feature a very robust waterfront program. Waterfront features everything from rowing and dinghy sailing to offshore and capital vessels. Our crew teams and sailing teams are considered Division I athletics programs, and they fall under the waterfront program. Waterfront program is open to all students, regardless of grade or a major. It's an excellent extracurricular activity, and we encourage students to participate at least at some point during their time at Kings Point. Our next few slides, I'm going to talk about the admissions process, what we're looking for in terms of admissions, and how to be competitive, and how to ensure that your file is successful application. When we evaluate a student, we look at 4 major areas to include academics, which also includes extracurricular activities, physical fitness via the candidate fitness assessment. We look at your medical suitability via the DOMER medical examination, as well as your ability to secure a nomination from your member of Congress. Of these 4 areas, the physical fitness test, the medical, and the nomination are strictly pass-fail. Meaning, for the physical fitness test, you need only to pass the test. We do not award additional points based on performance. We do not post the minimum results or the minimum score necessary. We encourage you to try your best. With that said, is if you do take a practice test and you reach out to your admissions officer, myself, or our admissions team, we will give you advice of how to improve your score, where you need improvement. For the DODMER medical, this medical examination is required for admission. All the services require a DODMER physical. What's unique about the DODMER examination is that you can take this for any academy, and the results will be made available to us. So if you're applying to other academies, which we encourage you to do so, those results will be made available to us. Likewise, the candidate fitness assessment, if you take the CFA for another academy, with the exception of Coast Guard, you can send those results to us, and we will accept them for a score. Understand the medical examination can only be completed after you start your application. Typically, DODMER allows candidates to start testing in late August and early September. So we encourage students to apply early and to take the DODMER examination when they're able to do so. The CFA, the candidate fitness assessment, can be conducted by any physical education teacher, strength and conditioning coach. It can also be conducted by any former or current military officer or non-commissioned officer. The test you can start taking the CFA during June of your junior year or going into your senior year. So we encourage you to take the CFA and then medical over the summer as soon as you can. Don't wait for the fall and winter months. Finally, you are required to secure a nomination from your member of Congress. Being as you're from Delaware, you can secure from either 2 senators or your U.S. representative. I will tell you right now, from the state of Delaware, nominations are competitive. again, you only need one nomination, and understand the rules for our academy differ from the other academies. You need to only secure a nomination. There's no primary or secondary selection. We can and have in the past selected multiple candidates from the state of Delaware. So it's a competitive state, but you also have some very great candidates coming out of your state. So if if don't be concerned if you only receive one nomination. You only need one nomination to be considered. Below is an SAT, ACT admissions testing chart. While we don't have a minimum testing score, this is our middle 50% range based on previous year statistics. This is what we're looking for if you're applying. This past year, due to COVID, we waived the SAT, ACT requirement. However, we do anticipate that it will be requirement for the class of 2026. So we encourage all students to test early, test often. We do super score the exam. We will give you the highest scores available. Likewise, you can take the SAT and ACT. We will take the highest math and English scores and consolidate them into a single score to try to give you the best score possible. For the SAT, we do not require the essay. We only look at the reading score. The reading score is a 2-digit score that is found in your SAT score sheet. We encourage students, again, test multiple times. If you'd like to forego the essay within the SAT, you're certainly free to do so. However, understand that that test may impact you for other academies or other schools, other opportunities that you're applying for. As discussed, academics is one of the foundations of our evaluation process. It is the only category where students are actually ranked accordingly against each other. Within our academic criteria, 75% of your evaluation is academics. This includes your transcript, your high school class ranking, and your SAT scores, as previously mentioned. Only 25% includes your leadership and extracurricular activities. So while we want students who are well motivated, that are involved in extracurricular activities, athletics, band, etc., we place a great emphasis on our academics, more so than the activities. So please understand that. Within academics, we take a very hard look at your transcript. All students coming in at minimum should have taken chemistry, physics, and pre-calculus. Pre-calculus is okay. We prefer to see calculus, but pre-calc, we can work with you on that. Ideally, you should have a B average or better in these courses. We want to see you take the hard courses, challenge yourself, take the AP courses, the honors level courses, any courses that give you college credit are very desirable. So especially going into your senior year, if you can take chemistry or physics or calculus, do so. If you take it a second time, that's wonderful. We love to see students take the courses multiple times, especially on the AP and honors levels. For high school class ranking, this only accounts for about 10% of your evaluation. In the event your school does not rank, we do accept a decile or estimation. If in the event your school cannot provide us that figure, we revert to the SAT to determine your high school class rank. Okay, application process. Understand the process. There's a lot of moving parts. We understand there's multiple items you do need to secure. Our application opens up May 1st of your junior year. So May 1st, 2021, our application window opens. We encourage you to apply as soon as you can. The sooner you apply, the sooner you're able to upload documents, schedule appointments, and do all the items that are necessary for completion of the application. We do require a copy of your high school transcript, official test scores from the SAT and or ACT, school profile, an activities record, a biographical essay. The essay is only 500 words. The only thing we're looking for is just tell us why you want to come to the academy. There's a prompt included with the application. Again, 500 words. We don't need your life story, but please be concise, clear, and why you want to attend the academy, and also state that you understand the service obligation following graduation. We do require school official evaluations from a math teacher, a science teacher, and an English teacher. These can be teachers that have taught you in the past. It doesn't necessarily have to be your senior year teacher, but someone that can give you an honest assessment of how you performed within their class. Deadline for admission is February 1st. This is a hard and fast deadline. This comes up every year where students try to ask for extensions. And unfortunately, we operate a nationwide campaign here for admission. We cannot grant you extensions for under no circumstances. So please take advantage of the time frame we're offering you. May 1st, the application window opens. And the sooner you start, the sooner you'll be able to finish. And we encourage students, like, do not hoard documents. Don't wait for a test score. Don't wait for a nomination. As soon as you have a document, upload it, okay? Because everything can be submitted concurrently. You're not dependent on medical examinations or nominations to submit your items. Following slide here, these are just admission strategies that we offer. We tell all students coming in here. First two items here, I can't stress this enough. The applicant, not the parent, should be driving this process. All right. Ultimately, if you're successful, if you're accepted for admission, you're going to be the one going through the course of study. You're going to be the one that's here raising your hand, your right hand, taking the oath of office, not your parents. So typically, students who are successful are the ones that are assertive, that are involved in the process, that complete their items early and accurately. All right. We encourage you to apply all available nomination sources early. Within the state of Delaware and nationwide, every office will typically put out their information in April-May timeframe. Go on to each respective congressional member's website. Plenty of information there about how to apply for the nomination, what they're looking for, and what their timetable is. Understand every office is a little bit different about what they're looking for and what their timetable is, but they do have similarities in terms of what items they're looking for. And typically, deadlines can be October, November timeframe. It may vary between offices, but that's what we've seen nationwide. Typically, October, November is when your items should be submitted to a congressional office. Again, complete the application early. We can't stress that enough. The sooner you start, the sooner you finish, the more time we have to provide feedback to you and to provide ways that you can improve your application. Take the SAT and or ACT early and often. At minimum, you should take each test once, even if it's a practice exam, that's okay, just to get an idea of which one you're better at and proceed from there. Again, we do super score. We'll give you the best possible score we can, and we don't judge on how many times you've taken the test. I've literally seen students take the test more than 5 times. Okay, so that is a viable strategy for admission. Take chemistry, physics, and calculus. I can't stress that enough. We're a very STEM-focused school, as reflected in our curriculum. Chemistry, physics, and calculus are valued. If you can score at least a B average or better, A is terrific. If you have an A in all those courses, wonderful. We also encourage you to take those on the honors and AP and collegiate level if possible. Practice for the CFA. I can't stress this enough. The CFA, you can start taking it effective June 1st and onward. Can be conducted by any strength and conditioning coach, a physical education coach, any current or former military officer or non-commissioned officer can complete this for you as well. I encourage you to do it over the summer. This way, you're not running up against your school schedule. The weather conditions are favorable, and then if you need time to improve, you do have time to work with. I can't tell you how many students wait to the last minute to take the test, are not successful, and then try to ask for an extension, and it just doesn't work out for them. Complete the DODMERB physical early. Again, this is a medical examination. You cannot complete this medical examination until after you apply. Once you apply, your information will be forwarded to DODMERB. They'll provide you follow-on information about how to schedule the examination. DODMERB contracts with doctors in your local area via your zip code. So you go into their website, you punch in your zip code, they will tell you who the nearest local provider is, and it's an easy day. Don't schedule the examination again until you receive notification from DODMERB. I can't stress that enough. We've had students in the past that have taken the exam on their own without scheduling it, and it creates all kinds of headaches. So please do not schedule the examination until after you receive notification from DODMERB that you're eligible to do so. We encourage you to visit Kings Point. Pre-COVID, we would host daily and overnight visits. Please consult with our office about our availability and when we can accept you for a visit. And lastly, explore all your options. I can't tell you this enough. There's so many great options out there and opportunities. If you're looking to join the military, I encourage you, check out all the academies, check out ROTC. There's multiple ways to the top of the mountain. Don't think that the Merchant Marine Academy is the end all be all. Case in point, myself, I did not go to school here. I attended ROTC at SUNY Maritime. That's where I received my commission, my license. And I tell students, hey, there's multiple ways to the top of the mountain. Explore all your options. And ultimately decide what's right for you. Again, we can't stress this enough. The worst thing that can happen is a student gets here, the program they're looking for, it doesn't match up with what we're teaching them, and they end up dropping out, and nobody wins if that happens. So explore your options, do what's right for you. The phrase I use is test drive them all. So if you can't visit the academy, at least jump on their admissions Zoom calls, check out their website, ask questions, and just, again, figure out what's best for you. Lastly, if you have any questions, feel free to contact our admissions office. Our website is detailed here. The email listed there is the admissions email. If you email them, they will forward it to myself. My information is also on the website. My email is beckerj, BECKERJ @usmma.edu, and my contact information is on there as well. We're here to help you. We'd like to see you be successful. But at the end of the day, it comes down to your willingness to apply the academy and put the work in that's necessary to be successful. I wish you all the best and take care.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lee Dawkins. I'm the State of Delaware Coordinator of Admissions Partners for the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut. So I'm here tonight to talk to you a little bit about the U.S. Coast Guard Academy as a college option for some of you, and briefly touch on the Coast Guard for those of you who might be interested in direct enlistment into the Coast Guard. So let's take a look at a couple of programs that we have here to talk about tonight. Our main point of contact for you, if you are interested as in the Academy, is uscga.edu. And that'll be your point of contact for getting some information. All right, so immediately. So let's talk about what you think the Coast Guard is and let you know that there is a series of missions at the Coast Guard that allows you to do the job of protecting and serving every day. Many of you are probably familiar with our maritime safety, the search and rescue, whether it's on a ship or a small boat out of a small boat station like in Ocean City, Maryland, or maybe flying or jumping out of a helicopter as a marine swimmer. There's also aids in navigation, boating safeties, and waterways management. There's also maritime security. The U.S. Coast Guard is a law enforcement agency. We also operate defense operations, drug interdictions, and migrant interdiction, especially down in the Caribbean. There's also, if you've seen our icebreakers. So we have small icebreakers that go into the Great Lakes and up the Hudson River. Also a very large icebreaker that's in the Arctic and Antarctic. But maybe you're more interested in environmental protection, that type of thing, marine sciences and environmental responses. On the screen, there's a big picture of the big fire that was down in the Gulf of Mexico years ago. But there was also, if you read recently in the news, about an oil spill right here in the Delaware Bay that the U.S. Coast Guard was handling. Also being part of national defense. Again, the U.S. Coast Guard is not a part of the Department of Defense, but we're part of the Department of Homeland Security. So that means that we take care of port security and anti-terrorism. So great careers that will be around for a long time if you're interested in those types of things. So it is the only military service that is a law enforcement and regulatory powers enacted by Congress. So we do all the arrests. So that's if you're interested in law enforcement, that's a great small service to be a part of. The United States Coast Guard is only about 35,000 active duty members. And it gives you a heritage of lifesavers. So if you're a guardian that wants to go out and save lives, then maybe we are the right fit for you. Being a part of the Homeland Security, it's a career that can lead you to the FBI, Secret Service, NSA, in the private sector and law enforcement, and into the Merchant Marine. The school is small, and so is the service. So where is the U.S. Coast Guard Academy? Not as famous as maybe as West Point or our cousins over in Annapolis. The U.S. Coast Guard Academy is located in New London, Connecticut. Easy to get there from Delaware. Just go up Route 1 till you hit I-95, turn north, and travel up to, you see the sign that says U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London. It's about a 5-hour trip from Dover, to give you some bit of reference on the distance. There is also an Amtrak station right in downtown New London, so it's an easy train ride from Wilmington on up to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. So what about the size of the school? We are a smaller school. There is only about 1,100 cadets at the Academy. We try to represent all 50 states, and we also do training for Coast Guard officers from around the globe. So at any one time, there are 10 to 20 different nations represented. So you have an opportunity to interact with a wide range of people from all across the world while at the Coast Guard Academy. We also are upping our minority and female population. So we urge anyone that falls into those categories to think about us and apply. You have a home at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. So our average GPA for a high school graduate, if you're thinking of the Academy, is about 3.75. In the mid 600s for the math SATs. Our student population was approximately 80% high school varsity athletes. That also means 20% were not, so don't think that eliminates you. We are a STEM school, so engineering, math, degrees, and sciences are important to us, so that would be part of your high school curriculum that you should be looking at right now, especially if you're just a sophomore starting out. So this is what a cadet kind of looks like. How about the academy? What do we offer in the terms of an education? Well, we are the top undergraduate experience in the Northeast, according to U.S. News and World Report. Our majors are listed over on the right side of the screen up here with our newest one, cyber systems. Now, cyber problems, as you know, in the news today is a big problem. And several years ago, we started a cyber major to help combat that down the road. We are also one of the top 15 engineering schools in the country. So how about mom and dad? What about tuition? Well, like the other military academies, we are tuition free. You happen to owe us 5 years of military duty at the end. But the nice thing is on day one, when you arrive, you get on the payroll with about $1,000 a month paycheck coming in. Nice thing also for mom and dad, once graduation comes, you have 100% job placement if you graduate from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. The other thing that is very nice is the graduates of the academy, we have a high retention rate. And so that because of the high retention rate, over 85% of our graduates go on to earn a master's degree, which is paid for by the U.S. Coast Guard. So that's a very nice bonus to be able to go to school, get your master's, and while you're in that program, that's your only job. So maybe your parents can tell you about having to juggle a full-time job and raising kids and trying to get their master's degree is pretty tough. If you're in this program, you're able to go to school and that is your only job at that point. So while you're at the academy, we're a small student body. That means there is a small ratio of students to teachers. Once you get into those upper programs out of your mass freshman courses, you have about an 8-to-1 student ratio to your faculty. And as a bonus, when graduating from the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, you graduate with a 100-ton mariner's license. So if you had dreams of operating big ships or being a captain of a boat, of a ship in the maritime service, you have a really good start here. And right there on that list, again, I want to emphasize is being cyber. That's one of the big things. Maybe you're also an athlete. Well, what will happen to you here at the academy? Well, we still have athletics for you to choose from. Health and physical development are core requirements for the academy. So we want you to encourage you to play in sports. So we have 25 interscholastic sports. 2 of them are Division I, the rest are Division III. But we also have club and intramural sports. And if you are an athlete and you want to be considered and recruited by our coaching staff as part of your admissions packet, go to our website, which is the Coast Guard Academy .edu, and then go to the athletics page. And on the athletics page, there is a recruit me button, which you can then connect directly with the coach and be so that you can send in sports tapes. They can come out and see you at local sporting events, that type of thing. And for some reason, the kids kind of think it's important to have an Adidas shoe contract and apparel contract. So I can tell you the new uniform swag is pretty nice. But like I also said, we also have music programs. So it's not all about athletics. So if you're a vocalist or a band member, we do want to hear from you also. The arts are important, so you can reach out with your audition tapes, again, as part of your packet. Basic admissions, there's our website, uscga.edu, as where you can start and get your Bears Den account and get more information. And I would urge you to do that, even if you have the slightest interest, register and you'll start getting some information. We have a modified rolling program on admissions. You do have to be a U.S. citizen, no dependents, and under 23 years of age. We are looking for heavy math, English, and science. And no nomination is required. So if the only academy that you're going to apply to would be the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, you would not need a congressional nomination from our congresswoman or one of our 2 U.S. senators. It's not required at the academy. Here are your careers. You can go to sea, land, and air. You can, and if you want to be a direct enlistment, so let's just say that being a high-level student maybe isn't where you stand, but you do want to serve in the military, or maybe you are just a great leader and know that you can eventually be an officer. Well, we'd encourage you to join directly, so you can go to gocoastguard.com. And then you can get information from there about direct enlistment, because there are 25 ways to become an officer from the enlisted program. If you are a leader, you'll eventually become an officer you want, or you can have just a fun job in the Coast Guard by going to there. So lots of opportunities. And here's the last thing I'd like to cover here tonight is if you are a junior, we have an AIM program, which this is our summer program for this summer. You need to apply now to come up for a week this summer. So if you are a junior right now, I'd urge you to apply to that program as soon as possible. Again, go to uscga.edu. All the information is there, lots of YouTube videos. You can also, again, sign up for what we call a Bears Den account, and that'll start feeding you some information, even if you're only slightly interested. What we want you to do is make sure that you're a good fit for us and that the school is a good fit for you. You have to make sure that where you go to college is what you really want to do. So I want to thank you for your time. And again, reach out to us as soon as you can.
That concludes the presentations this evening. Please feel free to reach out to any of the contacts listed here with your questions. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to hear from you soon.